Lindsay is a public school teacher and a mother. Please welcome Lindsay.
I am so honored to be here today. Can you hear me back there? I'm so short. Hold on. I'm so impressed with these students. But I'm not surprised. I know that you all are capable of greatness. And now the rest of the world is finding out. Look at you. You are beautiful. I would follow you anywhere. Last week, my 6-year-old daughter built a toy structure out of little people. She built a toy structure. She put little people inside of it. And then she explained to me that this is a place to hide during a lockdown. She's 6. She said, it's a capsule that flies away so the bad guys can't get you, but you have to be very quiet. My heart broke. But I know that for today's children, this is simply their landscape. Our reality. Active shooter drills are as inherent to school as the Pledge of Allegiance. And in a deeply troubled way, that makes sense. Because gun violence is as American as apple pie. We are the only country that asks our people to accept that more than 30,000 of us will die unnecessarily each year from bullets. We are the only country with more guns than people. So it makes sense that young people are leading this fight. Because today's 16-year-olds were 5 when 32 were killed at Virginia Tech. They were 7 for Binghamton and Fort Hood. They were 10 for Aurora and Sandy Hook. They were 11, Washington Navy Yard, 13, Charleston, 13, UCC, 13, San Bernardino. They were 14 for Orlando, 15 for Las Vegas, 15 for Sutherland Springs, and at 16, they're saying enough is enough. Teens know. They know that the epidemic of gun violence is more than the terrorism of mass shootings. They know its horror is not usually the kind that happens by the dozen, but rather the daily, preventable horror that happens by ones and twos. They know Black and brown Americans bear the greatest load. They know queer and trans Americans are disproportionately targets of gun violence. Young people are leading this fight because they know better than anyone that teens suffer more firearm deaths than any other age bracket. Guns have surpassed car accidents as their leading cause of death. How do they know this? Where have they learned to disregard propaganda from lobbyist groups, glean facts from reputable sources, think critically, dismiss bias, reach their own conclusions? Where? That's right. The very place where they have also learned to silently hide in darkened classrooms for survival. The very same place where a heavy book hitting the floor makes our hearts race. As a teacher during these drills, I imagine lunging at the legs of a gunman. Almost certainly a student I know. A student I may have taught to annotate text. I know lunging at him will likely cost my life, but if I do it right, I could get him off balance, and maybe I could save my kids. My kids! Some lawmakers think we'd all have a better chance if I carried a gun at school. That maybe there's a tiny chance I'd be in exactly the right place at exactly the worst time and keep my wits about me and take perfect aim. But I wouldn't be a teacher then. Wearing a gun negate my ability to teach. Learning happens when we make a compact with one another to open ourselves. Effective teachers commit to honoring openness by creating safe and nurturing classrooms. To learn is to be vulnerable, and so is to teach. We can't teach or learn from behind defensive positions or bulletproof glass. We can't teach anything worth learning anyway, only fear. We grow when we invest in and trust each other. But from assuming a position of openness, I have had students come out to me as gay or trans, and watching them bloom has been the delight of my life. Students have trusted me. Students have trusted me when they thought they might be pregnant, sobbed to me about sexual assault, confided in me about violence at home. Effective teachers are also physically among students. We lean over desks, pull up stools, sit on the floor. We weave through packed hallways, just another fish in a school. I can't be physically near students with a loaded gun on my body. Would I then perceive danger when a student excitedly runs up to hug me? Would I even allow hugs? What about my students with sensory needs who approach me to feel the fabric of my shirt? Carrying a gun is the direct opposite of being vulnerable and accessible. I know without doubt that this student-teacher connection does more every day to stop school shooters than I ever could with a gun on my hip. And to anyone who says that's a personal choice, that another teacher may feel differently or be able to do the job while carrying a loaded, deadly weapon, let me flatly say that is false. It is a harm to you, to our students, and to the profession that we are sworn to. Today, we stand with millions around the country and around the world saying, America, we must do better. We must solve our gun crisis now. Our future depends on it. It may seem like we are too divided, that this is too complex and insurmountable a problem, but we invented the internet and explored the moon. We can do this. We developed lasers. We have rovers on Mars. We can deal with this. We gave the world video games. We can solve this. As Americans, we have won more Nobel Prizes than the next 3 countries combined. We can do this. All of these triumphs were the result of collaboration, hard work, and faith in the mission. With faith in our mission, we can do this. And if the adults in office disagree, we can fire them. Get this. You want to know who's going to do it? In the 2018 election, young people will be the largest voter bloc in America. If you are 16 or 17, you can pre-register to vote today. It gets better. It gets better. If you are going to be, it's a little tricky for a speech, but listen closely. If you're going to be 18 by November, You can vote in the primary this May, even if you're still 17. Don't let the fire you feel right now burn out. Show politicians how strongly you feel and how powerful you are. Remember this in November